Yes, it's my girl. All right, as you can see, we got that septic tank installed today. And boy, I didn't think it was gonna happen for a while there. But you'll get to see what it took for us to get this septic tank up the hill, because it was wet. But most importantly, before we go to looking at what it took to get it here, I want to let you know that if you're getting ready to build a house in Costa Rica, getting a septic tank is not at all like what you would normally do in the United States or Canada. There is a big difference, okay? And I'll go into more detail on that. But if you're going to buy a septic tank in Costa Rica, there's 3 things that you really have got to know. And that is LTS. I'll be talking about that in a moment, but first, let's take a look at some of the crazy stuff that happened in order to get this tank up the hill.
To start this story, well, we need to back up to the very first day. On day 1, I hit the ground running, planning to get a lot of stuff done. My tractor crew was supposed to arrive early, get luster or road material on the road, level the lot, a hole dug for the septic tank, and a good driveway to the top of the lot. All of these basic things done by 2 p.m. because the septic tank was scheduled to arrive at that time, and the plan was for them to drive up the road and drop the tank in its proper place. But as you know, if you've been watching, the first crew we hired on a bad recommendation was inadequate and unable to complete the job. That day was a nightmare start for our 90-day challenge. Go watch that video now. So long story short, the septic tank arrived, and because the tractor crew couldn't complete the job, we had to drop the tank off at the end of the road, which meant we would have to pay them to come back after we're ready to put it in place. Now we're ready. We hired a basic transport guy to come move the tank because the original company was backed up and we needed to catch up. We've already lost way too much time. We carefully loaded the tank and our driver got his truck into position. It had rained a good bit the night before, so the driver knew he would have to get a running start to get up the hill with his 28-ton truck. He slid off the road and got stuck, but our new tractor crew came to the rescue. They ended up having to rebuild the entire road because the first crew didn't build it properly, and within a few hours, our septic tank was on top of our lot and the driver was getting prepared to unload our tank. We carefully got our tank unloaded and on the ground. And now we need to reposition the tank to make sure the inlet and outlet hose are in the right place. But before we put the tank into place, let me tell you about the 3 things you must know about your septic tank, and that is LTS. L is the first thing you need to know, and that is the location. Where will you place your septic tank? The most obvious place is downhill from your house, but the spot you choose might not be the best place depending on several factors. A good engineer will work with you to determine the best location to save you time and money. Make sure you do not place your septic tank near your water source. Many houses in Costa Rica will use water from a river, or you may have a well. For obvious reasons, make sure your septic tank will not drain near your water source. You do want to make sure your septic tank is downhill from your house, but not in violation of any codes because it's too close to a neighboring property. The second thing you must know is T, and that is the type. What kind of septic tank should you buy? Plastic or cement? The majority of houses in Costa Rica will have or will install a plastic septic tank, which is usually about the size of two 55-gallon drums. While you might be tempted to buy a cheap plastic septic tank thinking it's going to save you money, in the long run, it could cost you a lot more. Plastic septic tanks can easily collapse, causing you to spend more money to replace it later and are often way too small. Almost every plastic septic tank system I've seen are single-cell containers. A proper septic system will have at least 2 cells, and even better if you have a 3-cell septic tank system. Everything goes into the first cell, and all solids stay there for the bacteria to do its job eating up stuff, which begins the cleaning process. Solids will sink to the bottom of the first cell, while liquids will overflow over the dividing wall and into the second cell for the bacteria to finish its job of cleaning the liquid. If you have a septic tank with 3 cells, it's even better for the environment, as that water is getting cleaned in the third cell and comes out very clean when it goes into your leach field. A proper cement septic tank is usually your best option and will last you a lifetime. When you have the proper cement tank connected to a proper leach field, now you have a great system and are saving the environment for future generations. Lastly, the third thing you need to know is S, and that is the size. Making sure you have the proper size will eliminate many headaches in the future if you were to make the mistake of buying a small tank. You need to take into consideration how large your house will be, how many toilets, and the number of people living in your house in order to determine the right size septic tank. I always like to err on the side of too large, so I never have a problem in the future. Buying the proper septic tank and getting it installed properly can be a bit overwhelming, but not if you schedule your free 20-minute phone consultation and talk to one of our professionals. Make sure to look in the description below, and especially that first comment, so that you can click on the link to schedule your free call. As you can see, we finally got our tank in place. While the tank was being put in the right spot, a crew was filling our leach field with different sized rock so that the water coming out of the septic tank would get filtered one more time before going back into the soil. And that brings us to the end of another happy day in Costa Rica.